Welcome, one and all, to All That Matters, episode 3. This is like the full episode 3. Obviously, we've done a couple of ATMs and 5. ATM and 5. You know what I mean. So we've done a couple of those. So this is my third full episode, and I am excited to talk to you guys about this one. It's not like a fun topic, but it is a topic that I feel carries a lot of importance, especially in a day and age where I think this topic is not well defined enough. We will specifically be talking about today is how to tell when a friendship needs to end. And I think that this is a very important lesson for anybody to learn, but especially for people who are younger and are developing friendships and don't exactly know what people they should stick with and what people they need to let go of. So with that being said, let's hop right into it. To me, there are 5 key differentiating factors when making this decision. I think each one needs to be taken into account before deciding whether to stick with a relationship / friendship or move on from this friendship. We're going to start off with number 1. Number 1 is, although you don't ever do things in order to be rewarded or given something back. So in a friendship, you should never be doing something because you want some type of compensation. You don't want it to be transactional. Although that is not the case, you don't want that. It is important that both sides are giving something to the relationship. It can't be a friendship that's one-sided. Ultimately, if that is the case, if you are consistently giving but never receiving anything in return, then that relationship is a taking relationship. There is a lot of selfishness in that relationship. And if there's selfishness in the relationship, it can only thrive for so long before everything is taken away from you because you gave everything that you have. So that's a key factor when it comes to figuring out whether a friendship should keep on going or you need to call it quits. And when I say that, what I mean is it's important that you feel somewhat fulfilled in your friendship, as your friend should also feel fulfilled as well. Because ultimately, you guys are both in this friendship together, meaning whatever is coming at you guys in life, you guys typically are sharing that with each other. That's what a friend is there for, right? And if you have a friend that's always taking and never really giving, then you're not really in it together. You're in it by yourself still. Whereas when they have something going on, if you're there for them when everything is going negatively, then you are giving all the time. Eventually, that level of energy that you're giving, that level of effort that you're giving, builds resentment. And that's what can cause a relationship to turn sour very, very quickly. Now, the second thing is this person actually happy for you when you're winning at all times? This is a very funny subject because typically with a lot of humans, if they feel like you are behind them in life and you win, they'll be very happy for you because you have not surpassed them. Mind you, these are all surpassed, winning, all quotes, right? And at the end of the day, you should never really be looking at it like that regardless. But on the other side, what happens when what you do surpasses them? Meaning you get a job that makes substantially more money than they do. You get an opportunity that they've always wanted, but you actually received. You get something they do not get it. It's that type of relationship. When this happens, it's going to be one of 2 outcomes. One, they're either going to be extremely happy for you. Even if they themselves wish that they were in your position, they will still be very happy for you. That does not take away their happiness from what you have accomplished. However, a lot of times what we notice is when you get something that someone else wants or you pass them up on some level, they typically become resentful and don't feel truly happy for you. There's a lot of fakeness that comes from behind it because of what they think needs to be their specific response. So they'll pretend like they're happy, but they're not actually happy at all. In fact, they might be envious because of whatever it is that you accomplished or you achieved. Keep that in mind, because if this person is only happy for you when you're behind them, technically, and they are not happy for you when you are ahead of them, then they are not a real friend and they are not a good friend. The third thing I want you to pay attention to is, do you feel like you are constantly progressing and moving forward and trying to become a better version of yourself? And your friend either 1 is not doing that, or 2 wants you to stay the same and criticizes you for changing. Oftentimes, this goes hand in hand with the last point, When someone feels this dynamic change where you're continuing to progress, but they are sticking true to who they have always been and not progressing and not changing, they will often see what you're doing as a negative outcome. They are going to look at what you're doing and think that you are trying to become something that you are not staying true to yourself. When in fact, all you're doing is becoming truer to yourself because you are finding that potential that you have inside of you and trying to harness it in order for you to be elevated to the highest level of who you are at your core. The fourth one goes kind of in tandem with the last point. All of these kind of chain together and kind of play off of each other, right? These two go very, very hand in hand. So the third point and the fourth point. The fourth point being, do they push you to be better and hold you accountable when you are not performing at your level, at your standard, or at your potential? Or do they encourage you when you do things that will keep you held back, things that will limit your potential, things that will become bad habits, or things that are already bad habits? If they are doing that, if they are encouraging things that will bring you down, it is a key indicator that this friendship is not the right friendship for you. Mind you, this specific one takes a lot of self-critique because you have to know, is the habit that I am practicing bad? You have to be very honest with yourself. For instance, you might drink twice a week, 3 times a week, and think, hey, it's okay. I mean, I drink 2 to 3 times a week. It's not that big of a deal. When in fact, drinking 2 to 3 times a week is obviously terrible. And if your friend is asking you to go out 2, 3 times or come over and drink 2 to 3 times a week, they are giving you the vehicle that leads you to become the same person you've always been or a worse version of that. The people you want around you are the people that look at you and tell you, hey, don't drink tonight. Instead, why don't you go do this, and lead you to some type of productive path. Now, for all of us individually, it looks different what that thing would be. For instance, for me, it'd be like, go record a YouTube video, go work on your business, go spend time with your family. Those things for all of us individually are different. So you have to identify if the people in your life are pushing you towards greatness or holding you back. The final thing, number 5, is, has this person violated your trust when you've confided in them? I can't tell you how important this one is. Trust is such a fundamental, such a foundational piece of any relationship. It doesn't matter what relationship you look at. There needs to be trust. If you feel for any reason that this person can violate your trust, will violate your trust, or if they have violated your trust, then that is a behavior that typically can be repeated over and over and over. If this happens, or if you feel like this is the person in front of you, that tells you that this friendship has a limitation, it has a ceiling. Because ultimately, you cannot give them much because you don't know what will stay with them and what will go. Meaning, when things get rough, it's going to be very hard to give them information that could be incredibly personal and detrimental if anybody else knows about it. You have to be able to trust the people in front of you. If you cannot trust them, then drop them. Now, here's the thing. Naturally, you're gonna feel guilty because if you are similar to I am, you really don't want to hurt people. You don't want anybody to feel upset. You don't want anybody to feel angry or feel jaded. But the reality is, there is no reason for you to actually feel guilty. And that there's a big difference between feeling guilty and feeling sad / mourning the fact that your relationship has ended. Because feeling sad and mourning the death of a friendship, the death of a relationship, is natural. You obviously spent time with this person. You've had memories that have been created with this person. You have given a lot of energy, given a lot of yourself to this person. And when it ends, it almost feels like all of those things went along with it. But the truth is, behind this situation, you have to be completely honest with yourself and ask yourself, did I do everything in my power to honestly be the best friend that I could be? And did I try to communicate with them effectively when things were going wrong and I wanted our relationship to persevere? Or did I not do that? If you can answer that question and say, yes, I really did give it my all, and I tried my best to communicate with them about the things that I wanted differently in our friendship. If you can say yes to that, if you can honestly, the operative word here, right, is honestly, because this means you have to be very, very critical with yourself and ask yourself if you've really done all these things. If you have, then there's absolutely nothing to feel guilty about because you really did everything that you could do. And at the end of the day, it was out of your hands. Keep in mind that feeling guilty will probably just prolong the friendship. It'll just keep you in it for longer because you'll feel so bad about trying to move yourself away from it. Or you'll move yourself away from it for a little bit and then you'll want to revisit it over and over and over because you just feel so bad about it. Guilt, it does not have a place in this. You cannot feel guilty when it comes to this. This is the one thing that I would encourage you guys to keep in mind. Most friendships have an expiration date. Most friendships are not meant to last forever. If you look at friendships as treasure, like actual treasure, then it makes a lot of sense. For instance, if people are out mining for gold, when they find the gold, it takes a ton of filtration before you get to the actual gold, right? That's the actual treasure. It's the same thing with friendships. The friendships that last an entire lifetime are those that have been filtered time and time again, and you've gotten everything else out of the way, and all you have left in front of you is that treasure, that gold, the most precious aspect, the most beautiful part of that journey. All that work, getting through all that dirt, going through all those layers of the earth, just so that way you can get to that one thing. And ultimately, I'm sure you guys already know this, but never look at your friendships by the number of friends that you have around you, but by the quality of those that are around you. And if you look at those 5 things that I mentioned in this video and you apply them, I bet that you may be able to find some inconsistencies in some of your friendships. Find out which ones you should keep, be okay with the ones that you need to let go of, and just keep moving. With that being said, wrapping it up for episode 3. It was I think this was a really good episode. I think there's a lot of depth in there. I know my videos are long, but I mean, I'm trying to give you guys as much possible insight on the way I think about these things as possible. It may help, it may not, but if it does, I would be really happy just knowing that one person could get something out of this. So that's my goal. Now to move on to this part of the video, like, comment, subscribe, share, all those things. I always hate saying that part at the end of the videos, but it's important. Like, you know, you want to grow, you know what I mean? So help me grow. Be a good friend, help me grow. You see what I'm saying? So like, you know, I appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.